Hello again, everybody. Happy Thursday. It's that time of the week here on FL1 It's betting preview time. Paul Russo, Kyle Evans, and Jim Senderkrope here with you. Recap our Week 5 picks and buckle up, boys. Week 6 right at our doorstep. But first thing today, sponsor of the show, Finger Lakes Partners. Get the insurance you need from the people you know at Finger Lakes Partners Insurance, the Finger Lakes Insurance Agency for your home, auto, or business. Get an obligation quote today at fingerlakesinsurance.com. So, guys, before we get into our picks, it's been a bit of an interesting week so far sports-wise. MLB postseason moving through already. Football, like I said, at the doorstep. I know for you, Kyle, you have the ideal man cave setup going on, so I'm assuming your week has been pretty good so far in terms of that.
Yeah, all the sports been on my TV, even the college football games from last night were on. So, yeah, it's been a good time in the
Did you
playoff
bet the
games.
Phillies-Braves game last night?
I didn't bet on that, but of course I had it on. It was wild that it was basically one-sided, as the Phillies seem to be the team that might win it all, and I would be all
going into
for it.
that game, and the Braves killed it with the Phillies pitcher last night. Who was his name?
The Braves pitcher, Bryce Elders.
No, the Phillies pitcher.
Oh, Aaron Nola.
Yeah, the top to bottom, Braves lineup kills this guy.
Yep.
And so, didn't happen last night.
Nope. What did they hit? 6 home runs, 2 from Bryce Harper, 2 from Nick Castellanos. So it's like a postseason record for them in franchise history for the most home
And
runs.
they were also, Harper was the guy that had the base running error to end the last game, and the Braves were making fun of him.
Yep.
I mean, can't make this stuff up, right?
Yeah, guy's a postseason legend and just, I say, owns the Braves.
Yeah, that's safe at this point.
And the Dodgers are gone because Kershaw is the worst pitcher ever in October. Best pitcher ever any other month. Worst pitcher in October.
Yep, and then Mookie Betts and Freddie Freeman combined for 1 hit in that whole series. So
Were they 1 for 12, right?
1 for 19.
Okay.
Crazy.
Going into yesterday, it was 1 for 12.
Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think there's a thing dating back to 2021. Like Mookie himself was like 3 for like 30 something now in the postseason. I think it is
3 for 37.
Yeah, like just crazy. I actually did do a little same game parlay yesterday on the Phillies and the Braves, and that somehow hit. Very thankful on that one. First inning tie action involved on that one. So, yeah, we got lucky there, Jim. For you, good week so far, or betting wise too. Did you do anything with the postseason games going on?
No, I don't. I lost enough money trying to bet baseball. I don't have any idea what I'm doing.
Yeah, and it's been so one-sided. I mean, look at the Diamondbacks. They're 4-0 on the road. They're an 84-win team. They just beat a 100-win team, and they're doing it without any issues. They're cruising past these teams. So that's why it is very hard to bet. I've been staying away the last few days because I feel like I'm going to lose some money based on how it's gone.
And it's not good for Major League Baseball, honestly, to have these good teams take early exits from the playoffs.
Yeah.
It just isn't. The 5-game series is too short. But anyways, this is not a baseball show, is it?
I mean,
football.
maybe in the betting scheme it could
Yeah.
be, but yeah. Why don't we take a look at our Week 5 recap picks here? Jim entered the week last week with 10 in the bank to start. Your lone hit was that LSU game and was by not quite at the buzzer, but certainly came down the last couple minutes there with a pick 6 by LSU. But all that matters is you cover and you got the win on that.
I'm done. Two of my losses this year are Notre Dame, and I'm done with them. Never going to bet Notre Dame again. Never going to bet the Dallas Cowboys again.
Yeah.
I don't like betting schools and teams that I don't like.
Right.
And so when you do, and then you lose, it makes you like them even less. And as far as Waddle, what's going on with this?
Yeah,
That's just a tough one. I mean, when's the last time he had 70 yards in a game? Was that like week 1?
2022 season is when.
Oh, my God.
Or maybe in January last year, but yeah, it's crazy. He's had a terrible start this year, and I'm thinking about taking that prop again this week. Might be a glutton for punishment.
But luckily, though, with the LSU win, you only come out with a 1-unit loss on the week. So you bank for Jim, 9. Kyle, 11 to start the week, and because, as I kind of teed it up, you had the first push of us on the year, so a net week for you. Started 11 last week, come out on the other side with 11. Bills -5, a loss. They were outright losers, but the Chiefs covering that 4 and then some. Overall, not the worst week in the world, obviously, to walk away from.
Yeah, I guess I should have had Jags +5, but whatever. And yeah, the Texans helped me out late. C.J. Stroud let them down for a touchdown drive before they lost on a walk-off field goal.
Yeah.
But yeah, pretty good week, and hopefully we can keep it going.
Yep. And then as for me, Toledo -19, only won by 17, and that was a bit of a tougher one to swallow in my MAC brethren terrain. Toledo, actually, a little stat to drop and reference them. They're out 2-4 against the spread this year, despite being probably the second best team in the MAC. So, interesting to know there. But Ohio, they are one of the few teams, well, not one of the few teams. They're at 5-1 against the spread, I think it is, for the year. -26 cleared last week. And then I was like you, followed you, Kyle, with the Bills, and we both bit the big one there. So I lost 1 from the bank to start the week at 8, and I enter this week with 7 in the bank. So that'll happen. Part of the betting process that we always talk so much about. So obviously there's a lot of different options this week. I know we're obviously just football, but I mean that's the beauty of to take a page out of your book, Jim. That's the beauty of some of these different books and apps that you can bet on with now. There's a lot of different stuff going on. There's a lot of different boosts going on. I mean, the NHL started on Tuesday, and use the prop there, use the boost, and shout out to my guy Brandon Hagel for the Lightning. Got me a nice little extra money in the pocket to work throughout the week with on that front. So
and hockey
it's
is
the beauty
just
of it.
fun. I mean, betting anything is fun when you win. But if you want to put $5 down on a hockey game and watch that hockey game, I guarantee you're going to be thoroughly entertained. If your bet's close.
Right. Yeah, Kyle, I know you've been just having so much fun hockey-wise already. So
Yeah, I got robbed last night. So I picked 5 teams to score 2 or more goals. Every one of them hit, but the late night game, Edmonton, the Oilers, who were one of the highest scoring teams last year with Connor McDavid, the best player in the world, scored 1 goal in Vancouver last night. Ruined my what would have been a $70 win off from $10.
Yeah.
And it's just tough. But then the night before, I won $16. Wow, big deal, right?
Well,
But
winning's
Jack
winning.
Eichel, I had him to score a goal, and Vegas over 3.5 goals, and a couple other player prop things, shots on goal. So I won money on that. But man, the Edmonton Oilers did that last night to me. So
Hey,
tough.
anything can happen. Like I've been, we pick our bets for the show, but in reality, you do a lot of different other things. And for the 4th straight week, I hit a college football money line parlay, anywhere between 4 and 6 favorites. Usually, I
was
bet.
Georgia Tech on that bet this week?
No, and because the line was too big on Miami, that's they were too
Right.
big of favorites. But it came down to Boise State,
Oh,
San Jose State.
yep.
And yeah, that was Boise State got down 17-0, 14-0 early.
Yep.
But anyways, it was so late at night that my wife was asleep, so I got to watch it, and they came back and won. And that's 4 straight weeks with that college football money line parlay. So we'll be sticking with that this week.
Yeah.
And also is a good time now. I start the season with $100 in my DraftKings account, and right now I have like 130 something in there, which is great. So like, geez, Jim, you're doing really good. But that includes all those bonuses and free bets, So it's hard to tell. If it wasn't for all those bonuses and free bets, I probably would be like down. So it ain't easy.
No.
And I piss away a lot of money on stupid things like, I want to watch the Brewers base wild card game or whatever, so I throw $5 on it, and I don't know what I'm doing, and they lose, or whatever. But yeah, it's not easy. But
No.
even with all those bonuses, I've been 3 free bets a week. The NFL has been doing no sweat bets Thursday, Sunday, Monday. That's $10 free bet 3 times a week.
It's literally a steal. I use it every day when I can.
Right.
Seems like every day there's something in one of the sports that you could use.
Yes, and that's the other thing too. You see in hockey, you see it for some baseball, but so with all those, I mean, I probably through 6 weeks had like 20 free bets,
Right.
and I'm only up $30-something on the year. I got to be better.
It's the beauty and the bless you, and the supposed ugliness of this all, right?
Yeah, I called the Astros guaranteed Game 1 win last time we were on this podcast with Verlander.
Right.
They won. I called the Rangers upsetting Baltimore Orioles in Game 1. That hit. So, yeah, baseball's been all right, but I'm going to stay away. I don't know about the Astros-Rangers series. That should be a good one, though.
Yeah. I mean, you mentioned, the business side of it, right, Jim? And I've already seen people talk about how, like, apparently there's already, quote-unquote sources saying how the MLB not a fan of how both Texas teams will be going at each other in the championship series.
Right.
So part of it, though. So, week 6 picks. I know, Kyle, you went first last week, so Jim, you feeling confident enough to go number 1 this week?
Yeah. Start with college.
All right.
I'm going with Utah State plus 5.5 at Fresno State.
Uh-oh.
The Aggies.
Utah State's home, by the way.
It's even better. So they're getting 5.5. Utah State were 3-point dogs against Colorado State last week, and they won by 20.
Yeah.
And meanwhile, Fresno State, as you know, lost outright.
My sprinkle pick last week of Moneyline.
Yeah, Fresno
Wyoming.
State lost as an outright favorite versus Wyoming. And so it still doesn't seem like the odds makers have these two teams figured out, because Utah State's a 5.5-point favorite. So I'll take our underdog. I'll take the 5.5. I'll take Utah State. That's one of my picks. Now moving on to the NFL, I got the Commanders, the Washington Commanders, plus 2.5 at the Falcons. It's one of those situations where Washington just got destroyed last week against Chicago on a Thursday night game. And when you got Ron Rivera, Jack Del Rio, guys like that, they're not going to come back from an embarrassment like that without. It's going to be a turn. You see it in the NFL all the time. A team just gets decimated one week, they come back, look like a different team the next week. The Falcons aren't any good. The Commanders got 3 extra days rest so they haven't played in 10 days. And remember, this Washington team took the Eagles to overtime in Week 4. That's just 2 weeks ago. How quick it changes. Washington takes the Eagles to overtime, then the following week gets destroyed by a team that hasn't even won a game in a year in the Bears. And so now they're back and they're getting points against the Falcons. I'll take the Commanders. And so those are 2 picks. Now my third pick, I want to go Jalen Waddle over 61.5. I really do, because it's ridiculous, at some point. But I'm not gonna get on that train where I start to I'll wait until he has a good game, and then maybe I'll take some Jalen Waddle props. But I'm going with the Raiders -3 against the Patriots. And again, you could argue that, geez, Jim, you just said that the Commanders got embarrassed and you're betting them this week. The Patriots were embarrassed last week at home, like just totally embarrassed. Belichick's got to be embarrassed. But the difference between the two teams is that the Patriots just aren't very good at all.
Right.
They haven't shown anything this year. The Raiders looked pretty good last week. 3 points is a lot, but we're going to go with it's in Las Vegas too. So we're going to go with the Raiders -3. And I probably won't bet it like that. I will probably tease that line and parlay it with another teased, maybe the Rams -7. Maybe I'll go Rams -1, Raiders +1, and tease those two. Something like that. But anyways, for the purposes of this show, Commanders +2.5, Raiders -3, and the Utah State Aggies +5.5.
Love it. Kyle?
We're going to start it off with the 49ers -7.5 at Cleveland. Deshaun Watson is not practicing again today. It looks like Dorian Thompson-Robinson's going to start.
PJ Walker.
Either way.
Wow.
Either way, I mean, that 49ers defense, good luck to these quarterbacks. So, yeah, give me that as a pick. I got the Giants-Bills over 44.5. Earlier in this week, I predicted like 34-17 that would go over.
Primetime game for Daniel Jones again.
Yep.
So
But he's no practice again today. It looks like Tyrod might be playing.
Well, you better hope the Bills score 44.
And then this one, I was the third pick was tough for me because I was going to take Raiders -3.
Sure.
But it just scares me because I don't know. Patriots are just due to make it close or either win the game. So I decided just to take the Colts +4 at Jacksonville. In week 1, the Colts lost by 10 to the Jaguars. but there is no Zach Moss, no Jonathan Taylor, and Anthony Richardson was playing his first NFL game.
Yeah.
Since then, the Colts have looked better, and I think Jacksonville, after what we saw last week, they should have put more points up on the Bills, and they didn't.
Well, they're coming back from Europe, too. That's 2 weeks in Europe. Now they're coming back. Historically, the teams have had a little lag effect. And I agree. The Colts are gutsy, man. That team is gutsy. I would, if they're getting 4, I feel comfortable with that, too. I might be part of a 2-team teaser parlay, too, for me.
And it's going to be the Gardner Minshew show again. Richardson's hurt, and Gardner Minshew's played well.
Revenge game, too.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, yeah. He used to play for the Jags.
Oh, and then there's another stat here. The Colts have lost 9 straight games in Jacksonville. So they're due to either win this game or hopefully cover the spread here.
I don't know. When you lose 9 in a row, I don't know if you're due to win one or if you're destined to lose number 10.
New era. Different QBs.
But this Colts team is gutsy.
Yeah.
They, if you watch them throughout this year, they're tough. The defense is good. They're in games they shouldn't be in that you wouldn't think they should be in. And I like that spot with the Jags traveling back from Europe after being there for, a month.
And they're both 3-2, so pretty good game in the AFC South.
And, of course, Colts defense, one of their anchors, Zaire Franklin, Syracuse.
That's right.
I have to throw that in there. So, for me, I have 3 college games this week. I wasn't a big fan of anything pro-wise overall, admittedly, this week. Now, like I always say, things can change. We get to Sunday morning, and obviously things can shift and everything like that, so inevitably I'll have action going somewhere. But for the sake of this, my 3 are from the college ranks this week. My first, I have to channel my inner Tony Soprano here. Rutgers, -4.5, home against Michigan State this weekend. Rutgers, one of 5 teams that have not lost against the spread this year in college football. Join the ranks of UNLV, Penn State, Oregon, and Oklahoma.
And one team that I hate more than any other team in sport. I can't stand Rutgers, don't like Boston College, don't like Notre Dame. All related to the former Big East and Syracuse.
Yep.
Rutgers never did anything for the Big East.
That's true, yeah.
I mean, they never went to an NCAA tournament, if you can believe that, as a member of the Big East Basketball Conference. And, it's a school that touts themselves as a historic football, juggernaut. They've been playing football since 1544 or something like that there, and they never win nothing in football either. 1 year with Shiano, and they couldn't seal the deal. Anyways, that's my rant. I don't like Rutgers. Good luck with your bet, but I'll never bet at Rutgers.
Well, we'll keep the Big East flair then of past days here to a certain degree, I suppose. Louisville at Pitt. I'm doing Louisville -7.5. I'd love for it to be a flat 7, but I just couldn't find inevitably. But for our picks, I just couldn't find a book anywhere that was doing the flat 7 just yet and outright. So I'm going there, Pitt. I mean, Dracovic is now officially a tight end. They're just a miserable mess, I think.
You're not worried about that big game against Notre Dame, and then now they're going to have a little the following week against Pitt.
I suppose maybe to a degree that's definitely possible, but Pitt's just a miserably bad.
That's true, but maybe
team.
Notre Dame isn't as good as anybody thinks.
Right.
I
mean that's something that I've juggled this week, right? Did we overvalue Notre Dame and we undervalued Louisville? Because Louisville looked especially non-conference wise, they just have not played anybody outside of Notre Dame. I mean, so I don't know. And then my last pick, Missouri on the road, +2.5 at Kentucky. The Missouri team was predominantly in it against LSU. They coughed up a little bit last weekend to a degree, but Kentucky. Look, I don't like doing the whole entire rankings thing and stuff like that, but the fact that Kentucky is ranked and Missouri isn't is a freaking crime and a half. I just don't.
Who did Kentucky? Alabama or Georgia last week?
Kentucky had Georgia last week.
Played them pretty tough.
Yeah, but and when they played Florida, they didn't look great.
Yeah.
And they just haven't looked like the same Kentucky team. I know it's different, right? You lose Will Levis to the NFL and stuff like that, but they just don't look like the same team. I mean, you have Mike Stoops out in the media running around right now, kind of talking, albeit true, kind of talking a fool. So I think there's going to be a lot of what I'll call unnecessary eyes on this game for Kentucky, and I think Missouri goes in there. Eli Drinkowitz, I think, is a really great coach anyway, but I just think that that's a Missouri team that's better than frankly, Kentucky. So
Okay,
I'll
I'm
take
not
the
gonna
points on the
argue
road.
with you.
Yeah.
I'm not going to argue with you.
I'll take the points on the road there, I guess. I don't know.
So
Only one
there
way
you
to
go.
find out.
Who the Vikings play this week?
Vikings have the Bears in Chicago this week.
Yeah, and what's their favorites, right?
Yes, 2.5.
No Justin Jefferson.
Correct.
Kirk Cousins talking about getting traded.
Mm-hmm.
Bears seem to have something clicked.
Right.
So that's another game to look at. But again, what I'm looking at in the NFL this week is probably doing a series of two-teamers and teasing between 3 and 6 points each to make sure that it's better than even money.
Mm-hmm.
And that'll be another one probably. But man, a lot of trap games in the NFL this week. I think they all seem like a trap.
Yeah, I wasn't. That's why I was saying for the purpose of us, right, with the picks. Like, I didn't find anything I was overly, I guess, excited for, and that's why I kind of stayed away. I think.
Not even your Commanders.
Yeah, I just paddleboat Ron, as I'm gonna start calling him at this point, because
I think the 49ers
can't
is
give
a
yourself
lock.
a river name. Yeah.
Jeez, man.
I really do.
Don't say that word.
I think that's a lock.
Or it's a house of horrors. San Francisco makes a long road trip to Cleveland, and that super tough Cleveland defense, Christian McCaffrey goes down, and their season changes forever.
Yeah, that's the only thing I guess could change that, but I just
No, I like San Francisco too. I'm just saying, these all seem like traps.
As a football fan, specifically one in the trenches like I am, that Myles Garrett versus Trent Williams matchup this weekend, whoo-hoo! Now that's fun. That's nitty gritty. Two big guys who they don't like allowing anybody through on either side.
Yeah, I don't think that San Francisco's going to put up a lot of points against Cleveland, but I don't think Cleveland's going to put up any points against San Francisco. As good as Cleveland's defense is, when I look out and see those middle linebackers of Warner and Greenlaw and Joey Bosa, and they're going to be starting who at quarterback?
he says P.J. Walker. I thought it was Dorian Thompson-Robinson.
Might as well be Fred Flintstone.
Right. I mean, I'm basing it off of what I've kind of seen trickle through so far. Is they're leaning PJ anyway. Should Deshaun decide to not play again, because he's cleared to play.
Brown's coming off a bye too.
Yeah.
Seems like a trap.
Yeah,
But
I can see it.
That's
The way the NFL is this year, you're probably actually extremely spot on. Like, think about it. Like, the only time now at this point this year, right, we come out on this past weekend, we're so, pretty much everybody, we're all convinced, right, that San Fran's going to be this team, right, the team
San
this year.
Francisco, Philly, and then
Right.
AFC Championship. Almost
Right.
everybody universally agrees there's
it
no
would
other
be
possibility.
It'd be the most NFL thing in 2023 this year. The San Fran just go out and lose by like 9 or something stupid like that, like you're saying.
Yeah, and
versus,
lose
like-
Christian McCaffrey or Brock Purdy.
Right.
I don't know, but yeah. And then another NFL game I want to talk about:
Yeah.
Rams -7 versus the Cardinals. Now I'll probably tease that to Rams -2, 2.5, and go with them as in a 2-team parlay. But that's a little scary too. The Cardinals are better than most people think, but Cooper Kupp's back for the Rams. The Rams to me are, I don't want to. Yeah, they're kind of the surprise team of the NFL. But week 1, they were underdogs to somebody terrible. Going back
Is that
to
the
week,
Seattle week?
yeah, it was because
And then they ended up winning outright.
I bet Seattle.
Yeah.
It was one of my first bets on this big
Right.
screen here,
Right.
and
Played Philly tough last week. They lost by 9, but really it was 17-14 third quarter.
yeah,
So-
and, Kyron Williams is doing good. They're able to run the ball, good coaching. So yeah, I kind of like that too. I don't like the 7 though; that's a lot.
Yeah.
So I might tease that. And then before we get out of here too, we got to talk about that Miami Georgia Tech game.
Take the knee.
Of course. Who wouldn't? And it comes to find out that the Miami coach is against doing that because they wanted to get the running back over 100 yards, whatever. But they lost.
It's the most, and this is where I kind of agree, I think, with some of the stuff that's been said. Like, that might be their worst loss ever.
Yeah,
Just
ever.
because
It was one.
they've had losses, right, and some bad ones too, like and not to do the date thing here, but like Jim, you were around for their true heyday. You know, I remember their back end of it.
Yeah,
in,
well,
like,
they were
like
playing
the
Syracuse
early
in the Big East
2000s.
then, and they haven't had any success since leaving the Big East football conference like they had when they were in the Big East football conference.
And since then they've lost to like Middle Tennessee and they've lost to FIU, and that's all fine and well. But the national ridicule that's come from this loss is nothing like from what happened with those.
You guys remember
it's
the
just-
miracle in the
yeah.
Meadowlands?
Yeah.
With the Giants had the game won, and they just had to take a knee, and they handed the ball off. They fumbled it, and they ran him. I mean, that was in like what 1977 or something like that.
Yeah.
And this is the first thing that's even come close to that in terms of like the game is over, you've won it. You don't have to do anything else, and you've won the game. But they decided to try to run it, and they lost the game.
Yeah.
I mean, unbelievable. It didn't really affect bettors much because the line was like Miami 21,
I think so. Yeah.
and you know, as obviously Georgia Tech went outright. So if those Georgia Tech money line bettors certainly made out good, but I don't think there was anybody that was a Georgia Tech money line better. So just crazy.
Also, I don't know if this is widely known. I've only heard it like a couple times. I brought up that was their big recruiting weekend for Miami. Apparently, they had everybody that they're trying to get there next year there at the game. Like, if you're a recruit and you saw that, whew.
That was a trap game, too, for Miami
Yeah.
because this week, of course, they have North Carolina, and both teams should have been undefeated. But Miami gave the game away to Georgia
There's
Tech.
a lot of fun conversations going on right now about the whole entire Mario Cristobal versus Matt Brown. Who will, as some people have called, who will actually blink and be the one to mess up this weekend?
And who will take the knee
Right.
at the end of the game. One more thing. John Sullivan stopped in to see us. A lot of people might remember Sportsbook Confidential, which he hosted for multiple years here at Finger Lakes 1. Hopefully we'll have him join us every now and then here, but all his episodes are still online, and he started every episode of Sportsbook Confidential with like a lesson.
Yep.
And they're all in a single playlist on YouTube. So if you search John Sullivan Sportsbook Confidential Finger Lakes 1, you can find it, and you might find some interesting little tips in there, especially if you're new to sports betting. There's some really good stuff that he led off every episode with a different sportsbook lesson.
The beauty of it too, he doesn't explain it as if you're in college. He explains it, he does a really great job of making sure everybody understands and making sure that, as I say, like I end up saying at the end of every episode of this, like you end up in the green at the end of the day.
Yep.
So, all right, boys. So that will do it. Big week in the sports. I'm assuming we'll all at least be tuning into some way, shape, or form of something going down over the weekend there. I'd assume, right? So
Yeah, the weather's not
about to say,
gonna
Kyle,
be
who am I kidding? Kyle will probably have like the India-Pakistan cricket match on at some point.
Yeah, I bet it on the Korean baseball league the other night.
Hey, all right,
It worked.
the KBO baby.
Yeah, 5:30 a.m. they got going and they won 2-0.
Those games got me through the pandemic.
Yeah, me too.
So
Not me. I didn't watch any Korean baseball during the pandemic or since.
you weren't up at 4 a.m. like me, just like completely sicko mode on the
But-
NC Dinos and
But
Doosan
weather
Bears.
doesn't look fantastic this weekend, so yeah, it might be a good weekend to hunker down, watch some either college or pro football,
nothing wrong with that.
playoff baseball, NHL hockey.
Love it.
Preseason NBA. You can squeeze in a little preseason NBA.
I had
into there.
preseason NBA on last night.
Hey,
Oh, man.
hey, I don't want to be that guy. I'm a Miami Heat fan. Kyle, you're a Miami Heat fan, but being a Syracuse fan as well, Cole Swider looked really good the other night for the
Dominant
Heat.
fourth quarter.
Oh, I can't
Couldn't
wait.
miss.
Can't wait.
What did he finish with? 21.
No, I think it was 17 or something like that, 17 or 18, and all of it came in the fourth quarter.
Jerry McNamara gave him a shout out on Twitter.
Yeah. So
Or X.
Yeah,
still
What a
Twitter to
world.
me.
Elon Musk. X.
Still Twitter to me. So, all right, guys, that'll do it. We'll reconvene next Thursday. Do this all over again. As always, everybody, like, share, subscribe, all the fun stuff on YouTube with this, and help us out to help you out. Hopefully stay in the green, cash those tickets. Have a great weekend, everybody. Talk to everybody next week.